gentlemen, and disappointments. We are coming to you live from the woman caves in New York and Connecticut. My name is Leslie.
And my name is Melissa.
And we are Verbally Disastrous. Hey, what's up, everyone? This is your host, Leslie, and I have my co-host.
What's up, everybody? It's Melissa.
She's talking with a cigarette between her lips. She's hunched over in front of the fire pit, and she's burning old mail and
all that good shit.
maxi pads.
Yeah, especially how they go up. Ah! What was that?
What?
Because it burnt my leg.
Ooh. I'm going to give a shout out this week to Melissa Sack of the Brook Reading Podcast. Melissa is the host of the Brook Reading Podcast and the author of the book Turning Point that is available on Amazon in both ebook and paperback. I am genuinely honored and thrilled that Melissa Sack has already and will be showcasing both the hashtag Verbally Disastrous podcast and my hashtag Construction Tales book series within her new series on the history of women that can be found on the Brook Reading podcast. I'm honored to be mentioned on episodes 1 and 2 and 3 of her new series. I shall release a blog post this week to share the link to her podcast series episodes. Episode 3 will be fully dedicated to my book and our podcast in a future podcast release. So please go check it out on her podcast at the Brook Reading Podcast. Show some love and tell her I sent you. Melissa Sack's website can be found at www.brookreadingpodcast.com. I am truly honored that Melissa is sharing my writings and even offered a review. I can't wait to hear it, and I'm truly honored. Thank you, Melissa, and to anyone else in your team that's involved in sharing my work. I'm genuinely honored and thrilled at the same time. I can't wait. It was a nice surprise. While I'm at it, I'll give a shout out to the 8750 podcast team, as well as the Piggly Dog podcast. I'm actually checking out Don Lulu podcast that is exclusively on YouTube for the time being. I am peeping episodes of Don Lulu Presents Call-In Shots that is exclusively on YouTube. I plan to write a review for them and share that as soon as I can, so stay tuned for that. Now that I've shouted out some fellow podcasters, it's time to get into some adventures that Melissa and I shared when we took a ride up to the ocean town of Newport, Rhode Island. What a beautiful place in the summertime. The highlight of last weekend was when Melissa and I opted to jump in the truck and take a 3-hour ride to Newport, Rhode Island. We crossed the Claiborne-Pell Newport Bridge. I accidentally called it Clairbone by mistake. Once we got across there, you saw the sailboats and the boats in the harbor on both sides, and we were just totally excited for the new adventure. So it was a treat and not too terribly far away from us. Melissa managed to find us a more reasonably priced hotel that was 5 miles from downtown Newport, as well as the Cliff Walk that is a trail that hugs the south end of the island of Newport. The average hotel price in Newport, supposedly it's all year round, is between $350 up to $1,500 a night. The main reason we came was to explore the Cliff Walk trail along the ocean. We opted to get up early, get in the truck, and take the 3-hour trek to Newport. Unfortunately, the Forest Trail Hotel did not allow us to check in until 3 p.m. The reason why this was annoying was because I had to bring my 10-year-old dog named Daisy with us. We wanted to check in, have Daisy chill in the room, and go out exploring. We ended up taking Daisy on the Cliff Walk Trail with us until she got hot and tired. And then we walked back and opted to go find a outdoor spot to get a bite to eat once we were done with the cliff walk. Of course, once we get there, the toilet doesn't work.
You guys have to watch the video. A room that costs $288, which is absolutely fucking ridiculous. And then you could watch my video of me plunging the toilet every time we had to flush it. They didn't have maintenance, but they had a plunger for me.
Thank goodness. So literally every time we had to flush the toilet, we had to plunge. Believe it or not, $288 is the cheapest rate in town. Everything else was $350, $400. That hotel looked like it was nice probably about 30 years ago.
Maybe.
It was called Forest Trail.
Yes.
Forest Trail in Newport. If you want a cheap motel and don't give a shit about anything working, head over there. If you want to avoid it, we understand as well. The beds were hard as fuck. Sleeping in that was rough.
It wasn't worth the money, especially to have to plunger your own toilet. But, you know.
There was breakfast, which was some basic shit. Like
yeah, it was nothing great.
Yeah, nothing to where you feel like you're truly getting your money's worth. But then again, I think...
From what I hear, everything down there is overpriced like that. Everything's real expensive. I guess because it's an island on the water. The cliff walk was beautiful. That was really nice to do.
As I shared before, the Cliff Walk is an ocean trail that is located along the south tip of Newport, Rhode Island. The Cliff Walk normally takes a person between 2.5 to 3 hours to complete. The Cliff Walk was designated by the National Recreation Trail back in 1975. The Cliff Walk starts at Memorial Boulevard and runs past the Breakers Mansion.
That was awesome. Beautiful scenery.
You saw the Breakers Mansion and the other mansions along the edge. It looked like there was a university, that they took some of the old mansions and made them into a university. The Breakers Mansion was a mansion that was owned by the Vanderbilts. Years ago, I went with my sons to Newport, Rhode Island with some family, and we got to go inside the mansions. I heard a pretty damn cool story about the Vanderbilts at the Breakers Mansion. Apparently, the matriarch went between New York and Rhode Island to manage all these parties. Meanwhile, the patriarch of the Vanderbilts worked on Wall Street. Supposedly, he got on, say, Friday night onto a boat right off of Manhattan and then took a nap on the boat that brought him up to Newport, Rhode Island. Once he got off, he got dressed and the party started. They had hosted parties supposedly every weekend all summer long up there. So by Sunday evening, the Mr. Vanderbilt would get his ass back on the boat, take another nice little nap. The boat would bring him back down to Wall Street in Manhattan, and then he'd start his work week again. But it sounded like such a cool life. Unfortunately, some children died of various illnesses during that time period. It sounded like a really cool thing to just be able to chill like that and not sit in I-95 traffic when you want to go check out Rhode Island. I-95 can be a parking lot, especially on the weekends in the summer. So he was lucky to be able to snooze on a boat. You know, we passed the Seaview Terrace Carey Mansion and the Rosecliff Mansion while we were on the walk. We also passed the Beechwood, known as the Astor Mansion, and the Marble House. Daisy was hot and tired. By the time we hit the patch where there was some rocks as part of the trail, so we turned around and went back towards the truck. The trail stops at Bailey Beach. I would like for us to go next time and just finish the entire trail when the weather is cooler. These mansions belong to big family names such as Astor, Vanderbilt, and Morgan. Now, the Forest Trail Hotel that we stayed at was in Middletown, Rhode Island. Melissa selected that on Booking.com and gave a scathing review for having to plunge the toilet every time we flushed. The good thing about the hotel was that it was within 5 miles of the strips of bars and restaurants in Newport. Our first bar we tried to go to was called
Poor Decisions or
Poor Judgment was one of the bars, and it was on Broadway in Newport. Poor, as in P-O-U-R, Judgment, since it was considered dog-friendly on Google. I believe it was Google Maps that I checked it out. So, of course, we go over there. Our luck, after feverishly trying to find parking, the outside section was busy. So we walked to the Fastnet Pub. We got chicken wraps. Melissa sipped on some Sam Adams beer, and I got to sample some espresso martinis. We went into that other bar at the last minute, the third one of the night.
I don't know what the second one was. We have a whole little podcast with a local drunk.
We got to speak to a local guy there to give us some tips on what to do, how to do things, where to go, where to avoid. He even told us that there was a building that we could see that was across the street that was the homeless shelter for Newport, which was a surprise to hear about. The opportunity to lodge for free in downtown Newport. Who would have thought? That was an interesting nugget from a local guy. Once we grabbed the check from the Fastnet Pub, we saw that it was time to go back to the hotel, finally check in, and drop Daisy off so that she could finally chill out for the rest of the night. We got ready to go out again after Daisy ate, and she got her evening walk in. We pre-gamed in the room with some White Claws, or dare I say, middle-gamed.
Then we met the locals, because we only go to pubs.
Yeah.
We had a good time.
Would you speculate that the guy we were bullshitting with prior to the 3 o'clock check-in, before we took Daisy back to the room?
He was a local.
Yeah, but was he a painter? I mean, he looked stuck.
Some kind of construction, I think. Definitely some kind of construction. He was cool.
Yeah, he told us there was a park that separates from the Fastnet Pub. He was saying on the other side is hoity-toity like the rich people. Speaking of hoity-toity, we're over here trying our hand at a dirty martini. How do you like my dirty martini so far?
Leslie, you know, I like you, but these martinis, they suck. I think we put too much of that,
We put too much vermouth in.
Yeah, and it's really nasty. But we're going to drink it because we're troopers and make a better one.
Yes, and
that's what we do.
Yes, we're no quitters here.
No quitters.
And I got about 69 olives in my glass. We went hunting martini glasses at the last minute because we just decided wing these kinds of things. Figured let's go with a dirty martini because it doesn't have a lot of calories and can get you fucked up. Of course, we returned to the Fastnet Pub. That was later on that evening, right? We went back there. That was the first spot we returned.
Yep.
So, of course, Melissa was getting hit up.
I wasn't getting hit up.
Oh, no, he was hitting on you.
No, he was not.
He called you a cougar, and he was digging
But I didn't say anything.
No, you didn't have to say anything.
Right,
he did all the talking.
All right, guys, I want you to hear a little bit of this conversation. Hold on.
This guy was obliterated.
Okay, this guy thinks I have an accent. You think I have an accent?
Yeah, shoot the road.
What kind of accent?
Worse than me, for sure.
Well, what do I sound like?
A New Yorker.
And you sound like a...
Nothing.
dick? That was just how some of the night went with this kid. We have some more.
Hey, literally, his sister came and saw him
Had to take him
obliterated.
Woo! He was obliterated.
Yeah, he was obliterated and had to take him out of there. We were bullshitting with some Army... No, it was Navy officer. Bullshitting with him, bullshitting with some people from Boston in there. The crowd was varied. The bartenders were working hard. I went for a...
Yeah, definitely shout out to the bartenders.
Yeah, shout out to the bartenders. There was an Irish fella who asked...
Very cool.
Yes, he asked for the name of our podcast. He was telling us his daughter wants to go to that university. I forget. Do you remember which Arizona University? No, there was somebody else talking to us about Arizona University. Fuck, too many people.
Yeah, a lot of people. But it was fun.
They were all friendly. They were cool. We were watching the Olympics and all the shenanigans that were going on. Of course, we were walking into bar 3, and the person said, "You look like you're stumbling." So, of course, I reply, "I have a back problem."
Leslie was doing a little of both.
Yeah, I mean, it was fair to say I probably had, by that point, I had, what did I have, 3 coffee martinis before we bounced? Just kidding. I know I had more than 3 martinis that night. Oh, here comes another clip.
Here's another clip of him, and I didn't know what to ask him, so I was just talking some stupid shit.
No, what does he say? We don't know. He doesn't normally sound like that.
He wants Joey.
I'm sure he does. I think he had a picture.
He wants Joey.
That's how you know he's like a little.
It's okay. He's harmless.
He needs cousin Joey.
He was. Manners and all. Yes, yes.
Come on. He needs cousin Joey's on there.
Why?
He wants stories.
You know cousin Joey?
He wants stories.
He's so young. I said, don't you have an uncle?
He said, I want stories and accents.
Stories. What's going on?
Stories and accents. Cousin Joey.
All good.
Fuck you.
Hey, don't talk to your sister that way.
Oh.
Don't you? No, he's all right. You want me to finish it?
Bobby, don't you dare.
Joe.
Don't you dare.
The fucking Joe. It was a fucking joke.
I don't care.
Hey.
That's not funny.
Hey. Oh. Fucking joke.
No.
Well, I said you were... Fucking joke.
That's not funny. Many people are not funny.
Hey. The fucking joke.
They're lucky they're not.
Relax.
They're lucky they're not.
Jesus Christ, relax.
Do you need to take him home? Or I
Yeah,
Yeah, relax.
Hey, do you want me to finish that so you can go? Why not?
just bring it back. He just likes to inflate me. He knows I'm not like he's out for purpose because I hate animal things. I just think it's very quick. I think you're something bad, but most people wouldn't like that. That's disrespectful. He is, but he's gonna do that to me one time. You're feeling that's not what I said. What? Bobby,
Why don't you give your sister a break and go? They're waiting for you. They're not. Right. People who care about you are not answering. What is that? Now give me the $5. What? Nobody's yelling at me. I'm not going to yell. I don't care. What is it?
Oh, can you hear it? Shit.
Is that Honey Jack? No, James.
I'm there if I guess it would.
What are you drinking?
More ginger.
You're too cute.
Game old ginger.
This is another clip of him, and I.
what do you think about the world right now?
Are you trying to... I'm assuming you're young, trying to get laid. How do you go about it? You're not? What happened to him? She left your drunk ass. Go find her.
Here's another clip where Bobby is so bombed, he's totally incoherent, and he's dropping things, everything from his straw to his wallet to anything that he has on his person. He's just like a mess. We feel sorry for him by this point.
There you go. I gotta get the right one up there when he goes.
Yeah, he was a pisser. And very entertaining to watch him slowly but surely and steadily get absolutely shit-faced. Oh, look, I found the last clip where he is really incoherent. Check it out.
And we keep getting to his voice, and we were asking him a question, and he was like,
I know, like, what does he say?
we don't know. But it's fucking great.
He doesn't normally sound like that.
He
That's
wants Joey.
I'm sure he does, and I think he had a big
He wants Joey.
That's how you know he's like a little.
It's okay. He's harmless.
He needs cousin Joey. He
He
needs
was.
cousin Joey.
Manners and all. Yes, yes.
Come on. He needs cousin Joey's on there.
Why?
He wants stories.
You know cousin Joey?
He wants stories.
He's so young. I said, don't you have an uncle?
He said, I want
Yeah.
stories and access.
Stories. What's going on?
Stories and access. Cousin Joey.
All good.
What is this?
Fuck you.
Hey, don't talk to your sister that way.
Oh.
Don't you? No, he's all right. You want me to finish it?
Bobby, don't you dare.
Joe.
Don't you dare.
The fucking Joe. It was a fucking joke.
I don't care.
Hey.
That's not funny.
Hey. Oh. Fucking joke.
No.
Well, I said you would. Fucking joke.
That's not funny. Many people are not funny.
Hey. The fucking joke.
They're lucky they're not.
Relax.
They're lucky they're not.
Jesus Christ. Relax.
Do you need to take him home?
Yeah, relax.
Hey, do you want me to finish that so you can go? Try not.
Just bring it back. He just likes to inflame me. He knows I cannot like put it down for purpose because I hate handle the thing. I just think it's very quick. I think you're coming back, but most people reading it, but most people wouldn't like that. That's disrespectful. He is, but he's gonna do that so many more times. I'm feeling. That's not what I said. What? Bobby,
Why don't you give your sister a break and go? They're waiting for you. They're not. Right. People who care about you are not answering. What is that? Now give me the $5. What? Nobody's yelling at me. I'm not going to yell. I don't care.
Oh, can you hear it? Shit.
Is that Honey Jack? Fucking James.
I'm there, I guess I would.
What are you drinking?
Some more ginger.
You're too cute.
Game old ginger.
And just like that, Bobby was escorted out of the bar with his family. And then the bar kind of slowed down with the entertainment, so we bounced. We went to a second one briefly, and then we went into the third and final one for the evening. And of course, the third one was quiet, so we had a couple of drinks, and then we bounced. Oh, there he is.
Wait, that's not it. That's him talking to his sister. That's when his sister gets to pick him up.
She wrangled his ass out of there. I was like, oh no, you're going home. You've embarrassed yourself in the family name for too long.
All right, I think we should record this whole thing over.
Of
Let's
course.
get drunk.
Agreed.
Then we'll fix it, because I got to find the right one.
Well, while we opted to get our buzz on with some dirty martinis, I did not go back to re-record. Instead, I loaded up the files that she had recorded, and they are inserted into this podcast episode, so that way you can hear them better versus hearing them in the distance on the phone. But we had a great time. We're dancing like no one's watching while crafting our dirty martinis. And along the fire, of course. I wanted to roast marshmallows, but it was still hot and humid from the day, so we wrapped it up and went inside. As far as the cliff walk and the city of Newport, Rhode Island, we had a great time, she and I, as we always do, despite a couple of snafus with missing items, broken items in the hotel room, and plunger requirements for each flush. We had a good time getting out there, checking out people, socializing, people watching, and exploring new places, uncharted territories. Overall, it was a good thing to do for summer 2021. This wraps up, on behalf of Melissa and I, another episode of the Verbally Disastrous podcast with my co-host, Melissa, and myself, Leslie. If you have any other questions or you'd like to check out further content, head over to my blog at www.constructiontales.com. I thank you for getting all the way to this part of the podcast episode. If you're still here, you're much appreciated, and you guys are my favorites. Don't tell anybody. Okay? All right. Enjoy the rest of your day, the rest of your week, and the rest of this summer, and make the best out of it. On behalf of us here at the Verbally Disastrous podcast, I'd like to wish you a great day. Take care.